Good morning. Good morning, International PACE students. I'm Marvin Krislov. I'm the president of PACE, and I'm so glad you've joined us this morning. I know the last year has been incredibly challenging, and especially for you who've had to deal with so many issues. I'm very impressed how resilient you've been during this time, and I'm excited to welcome you back to PACE for the fall semester. We're busy making plans and arrangements for an in-person fall 2021, a semester that feels very close to a normal one. We'll have in-person classes, in-person activities, bustling residence halls, and vibrant campuses. We'll be back to the PACE experience and the PACE community that we all love and cherish so much. As you know, we'll be requiring vaccination for all students, faculty, and staff on campus. That's a big part of how we'll be able to have a more normal fall and all be safe. There are also other regulations, guidelines, and safety protocols we'll have to follow. And we'll talk today about how we are determined to make sure that you are safe and well, and we're here to accommodate you and to try to help you if you have difficulties. And so there are a lot of our panelists who will be talking about that. We have experts on this call from PACE International, Admissions, Residential Life, University Healthcare, and other PACE offices. They'll walk you through the plans and they'll be happy to answer questions. So now I'm going to turn things over to our wonderful Dean of Students, Rachel Carpenter, to introduce the panel and start the conversation. Thanks again for being here. I look forward to being with you this fall and to celebrating the start of the new year. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, President Krislov. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are calling in from. We're incredibly excited that you are here tonight. So many of your faculty and staff are really looking forward to creating more connections with you and spending more time together on campus. And I wanted to share with you how we're actually going to get there, when we're going to get there, and what we are going to do leading up to the semester. So it's going to be a great fall semester and academic year. We're moving ahead with a return to closer to normal operations for the fall semester. And that's what we're here to talk about today. In New York, 70% of all adults have had at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. And the positivity rate in New York has been extraordinarily low, and it continues to trend in that direction. So the vast majority of pandemic restrictions were actually lifted by Governor Cuomo not very long ago. And so together we have been looking at how are we going to create this fall 2021 experience. We've made it through a very extraordinarily tough 15 months, but we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we will see you back on campus this fall. So how we're going to actually prepare for that fall is get vaccinated if you can. And we're going to share with you some resources today if you are encountering any difficulties securing a vaccination. So effective August 16th, COVID-19 vaccines are required for everyone who is going to be coming to a PACE campus. That's faculty, staff, and students. Of course, those who have approved medical or religious exemptions are not included in that, but we have a process for you as well. So vaccine records or exemption requests do need to be uploaded to the confidential patient portal no later than August 1st. And if one of my amazing chat support wouldn't mind putting in the patient portal link so that you have direct access to that. And those, I would encourage you to do it before August 1st if you are able to. And to meet the deadline, if you're going to get one of the 2-shot series. So for instance, if you're going to get Moderna, your first shot needs to be July 3rd. If you're going to get Pfizer, your first shot needs to be July 10th. And if you're going to have a 1-shot series, such as a Johnson & Johnson, July 31st, right before that August 1st deadline. And it's okay if you received your shots by August 1 and submit your records, even if the 2 or 3 week period for full vaccination hasn't happened yet. As long as you've completed those, please go ahead and upload those vaccinations. And we'll share with you how you can upload that. But we do understand that international students may not have the opportunity to get vaccinated before arriving in the US. I can't stress that enough. We understand that. And if you're unable to get vaccinated before arriving, we strongly recommend that you make an appointment to be vaccinated when you arrive in the United States. And you can actually do so by going to the State of New York COVID vaccine website. It's covid19vaccine.health.ny.gov. If one of our support folks could go ahead and put that link in the chat. And you can actually use your PACE address for booking your appointment. Of course, you need to be in the US for that appointment, so make sure that you book that appointment for after your arrival. And you can use, if you are a New York City student, you can use that One PACE Plaza address. If you are a Pleasantville International student, you can use the 861 Bedford Road, Pleasantville address. And if you're a law school student, there's a 78 North Broadway in White Plains. If you use those addresses, you will be able to then schedule your vaccine after you arrive in the US. And one last thing before I kind of move on to what the fall is going to look like, international travelers are required to take a COVID-19 PCR test before traveling to the US. So please make sure that when you are making your travel arrangements and you are scheduling that PCR test. And if you are not vaccinated, if you are waiting for that appointment when you come to the US, if you have a religious or medical exemption, PACE will administer a rapid test after you arrive on campus. So the whole point of everything that we're trying to work towards is to experience a more normal campus, to have those connections that we have been longing for and that we're known for, really. And a lot of restrictions are being lifted for vaccinated individuals. So starting July 1st, masking and distancing guidelines are going to be lifted on all PACE University campuses for those who are vaccinated and have uploaded their vaccine record. In accordance with New York State and CDC guidelines, or Center for Disease Control, individuals who are not fully vaccinated are responsible for wearing their face coverings and observing distancing. But all members of our PACE community, regardless of your vaccination status, if you would like to continue wearing a mask or face covering, a mask for your own safety and comfort, we encourage you to do so. So if you are vaccinated, you have the option to wear a face covering or not. If you are unvaccinated, you do need to continue wearing that face covering. So what is the fall going to look like? Well, if you are a returning student or you are a transfer student, it's not going to look like fall 2020. It's going to look more like fall 2019. And for those of you who are first year students, you might not understand that reference, but I promise you, it is going to be amazing. We're going to have in-person convocation for our incoming first year and transfer students as a welcome to our academic community. We will have in-person classes, opportunities to meet in person, student events in person, regular dining operations. There will still be testing available, but most vaccinated individuals on campus will be exempt from testing. If you ever, as a vaccinated individual, did want to get a test, we would also make that available to you. The PACE Safe questionnaire, which is a kind of a symptom tracker, if you will still be required for accessing campus. So once you have your login information, if you're a new student, you will download the PACE Safe app, and that will have the COVID-19 questionnaire, and that is what you use to gain access through the security booths in order to be on campus with us. Students who are returning students, you may have experienced a reduction in on-campus guest options. And so if you are a residential student this fall, we are expanding our visitation to all residential students can visit each other, and any student who's a commuter student who has a vaccine record uploaded or an exemption on file and who can access campus, you are also allowed as a guest of a residential student, but we'll have more details on that. There's going to be sporting events, performances, student events. The city is coming alive. Westchester County is coming alive, and we are returning to a more normal. And so I would love to kick off this panel who have some really important information to share with you. And I'd like to welcome our Dean of Admissions, a wonderful partner on campus, Andre. Why don't you take it away?
Thank you, Dean Rachel. Thank you so much. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, once again, wherever you are in the world. We welcome you today. We have a number of good questions submitted to our international team. And we have a great group of experts ready and willing to answer all your questions. Please don't be shy. Please submit your question, because no question is not a good question, because your question may help someone else, some of your peers that are visiting today. So without further ado, let me introduce our great panel. First person I'd like to introduce is a great friend of mine, Mira Krasnov. She's the Director of International Students. And Onwa Jaw, Director of University Healthcare. So we have a number of questions. I want to get right to it. So the first one, Rachel, it's going to be back to you. How do I upload my vaccination, and what proof do I need?
Absolutely. It's one of the pivotal questions for the success of our fall semester. So we have full instructions for uploading an image or a scan of your vaccination record or card, and that is available at pace.edu/patient portal. If you have never signed into patient portal before, I highly recommend that you do so, because actually I'm seeing it on my other screen. If you scroll down, once you log into this patient portal, all the instructions are right there, including how to upload any exemption forms to that patient portal. So whether you have a vaccination record or an exemption request, that's where I really want you to go. All submitted vaccination records do need to be in English. So if your records are in another language, we do need you to provide a translation. And if it is that vaccination record, that should be done by a licensed healthcare professional. And it can take up to 7 business days for your vaccination record to be reviewed and approved by healthcare professionals. So I want you to make sure that before you try accessing campus after that August 15th date, and we have the August 1st upload date, really think about the time in between when you submit and when it actually gets approved. You'll receive a confirmation email from the professionals who are reviewing the vaccination records. They're known to us as Medicat, or our patient portal administrators. You'll get that confirmation email saying, you've been approved to come to campus, you're in compliance, and that will help you enter campus. So continue to check your PACE email for updates regarding your vaccination record. When you sign on to patient portal, there's also a link under the immunizations tab that says history, and you can actually view the history to see if you have the little green check marks that you are in compliance with all of your immunization and vaccines. If you do not get vaccinated and do not have an approved exemption, you will not be permitted to physically access campus after August 15th, unless you have a vaccine appointment scheduled for you when you arrive in the US. So there's a few categories of students who, if you're demonstrating good faith, that you have a vaccine appointment, and that's something that you still need to get done. There are some exemptions for that.
Great. Thank you so much. Oma, will you accept vaccines other than Moderna, Pfizer, or Johnson & Johnson?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do accept other vaccines. AstraZeneca will be one example. So under AstraZeneca, we have Covishield, and we also have Oxford COVID-19. And we also accept Sinopharm and Sinovac, which is also known as CoronaVac.
Great. So here's another question. Someone wants to know, the only vaccine available in my home country isn't approved by the World Health Organization. Can I get an approved vaccine upon my arrival to the US?
Yes, we will help you find a vaccination site as soon as you get here, and you'll be vaccinated here if you'd like to. Yes.
Rachel, this one is, do we need to quarantine after arriving in the US? It's a hot question.
It is, and the Hopefully quarantine days are behind us. I know that we still will be doing some quarantine and isolation if for some reason, a student did test positive. But as far as quarantining after you arrive in the United States from your travels, PACE is not requiring you to quarantine. As long as you are vaccinated, you have had that required PCR test for you to travel anyways, and you have uploaded your appropriate documentation to the secure patient portal. However, guidance and requirements are changing. The last 15 months, we felt like every week the guidance was changing. So I really want you to make sure that you check the CDC travel notices on the CDC website for more information in case that recommendation might turn to a requirement. But for right now, PACE is not requiring you to quarantine before you come to campus. I would make sure that, like I said, check that website for the CDC travel notices, because they do make some recommendations that maybe you want to get a test afterwards, maybe you want to limit contact with other folks, but these are all recommendations. And so that's how we're treating them.
Great, thank you. Mira, you're up. So here's a question that has definitely been received within the admissions offices, both undergrad and grad. So U.S. consular services are currently suspended in my home country. Can I apply for an F1 visa from a nearby country other than my home country?
That's a great question. And yes, absolutely. And it's a very new update from the US Department of State. It was prohibited before, but nowadays, and of course it has to do with pandemic, global emergency, you can apply for a visa and be interviewed at any US consular post in the world. If service is suspended in your country, you go to a nearby country or maybe even far away country, and you just travel, you get your visa appointment, and you get a visa. Yes.
So a variation of that, what if the services are limited or a long waiting line? Can they still do that process?
Same answer, yes. Even if consular services in your country have resumed, but it's a backlog, long waiting time. So you look it up online. There is a special website. Melba, can you please put, there is a Melba Benitez, another team member of your home office, international student office. She will post to the chat the link, how to look up any country in the world and visa waiting time. It's a .gov website, government website. Melba, Sabrina, are you there? So we will post the link. You can look up any US consular post and see what's currently visa waiting time or rather visa interview waiting time in that particular country, and you can book your visa appointment. You can actually choose whatever is the shortest time. Here, Melba. Thank you, Melba. You see the link? It's very important. Save it. And it's very accurate, dynamic. They are updating it every day. So you can see at any given day the most accurate timeline for visa appointment.
Thank you. So, every year, every semester, students, get worried about making their appointments or having enough time to enter the U.S. and start school on time. So one question student submitted is, can I request to expedite my visa appointment?
Yes, that is yet another flexibility provided by the U.S. Department of State during the pandemic. Student visa is considered as essential, urgent visa. You can officially apply. They have a form. You can ask to expedite your visa appointment. But of course, you need to be reasonable. If you are applying, let's say in July, and you see the next appointment available is on October, then you have all the reasons to do that special form, request for expedited visa appointment, because you need to make it for fall semester. If you apply now and your visa appointment is in July, so there, it doesn't make sense to go through expedition. Yeah, it was a good question.
Great. So here's another question, and it I think pertains to both groups, new student groups as well as continuing students. But they're asking, a lot of students have asked this question: if we cannot obtain an F1 visa due to the COVID outbreak in our country, can we start courses online? And do we still have to obtain an I-20 for that?
Yes, you are correct. It applies to different type of students. And I will go by type of student. So if you are a new student and you are asking this question, you can start your degree online, yes. You will be considered PACE University student, yes. Credits, all that, a bona fide student, but for CVIS visa, your clock is off. Your employment eligibility clock, any benefit clock, even though, again, you can start your degree. So your status, F1 visa status, begins at the moment you cross the border. When you check in with us, we ask you for I-94 arrival record. You're not going to have one because you are stuck, travel restrictions or anything, visa delays. So we do offer some courses online, and you don't want to waste your time, you want to study, it's great. But you will begin your degree online, but not for your visa status. It's off. Your visa clock is off. Your visa will remain valid until next semester. You shouldn't worry about that. But you do need to work with my office and admissions office to ask to defer your record and CVs to the next available semester. Continuing students, as you know, the policy, the government policy, federal policy is very flexible. During pandemic, you can study online, and if you are stuck in your home country, it just happens. You're on the break between semesters, you're stuck, unable to come back, you can continue your study online, no issues. Everything is normal. You can just preserve your legal status and you will maintain your status if you are a continuing student and you are active in CVIS.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Rachel, back to you. Will there be testing on campus?
So yes, and it depends. So beginning with the fall 2021 semester, most vaccinated individuals will actually be exempt. They won't be required to participate in on-campus testing. Now, some people may still be required to test, and tests will definitely, as I mentioned earlier, will still be available if you are a student who maybe you're concerned about your own health, or you live with someone who has a weak immune system and you would like to be tested more often. Even if you're vaccinated, you can do so. But those folks who are going to be unvaccinated on our campus because they have a religious or a medical exemption or belong to another population that perhaps we want to test more often should be prepared to do so. And anyone who is experiencing COVID-19 symptoms or is somebody who is suspected as maybe positive, they will need to be tested regardless of their vaccination status, and that's recommended by the CDC. So that's what I mean by depends. It will not be to the level that we used to, but it will still be present on our campus. And Andre, I'm seeing a few questions about just I know I already went over it, but are we going to have to quarantine
Mhm.
and when we arrive in the United States? And I just want to reiterate, so I want to say again that the CDC is recommending that if you are not vaccinated, I'm going to start that over again. Pace University does not require you to quarantine when you come into the United States. You do, all travelers, whether you're vaccinated or not, you do have to come with a PCR test, and that's for you to travel. And then once you get to the United States, it's just a recommendation that you monitor your health, you check your symptoms, maybe you get a test, but we at PACE are not requiring you to quarantine, but we are always going to defer to the CDC. So right now that's just a recommendation. And so that's where we stand right now with quarantining. The short answer is no. The longer answer is it depends.
Great. Mira, back to you. A lot of questions about visas and starting. So due to it being very hard to get a visa in my country, is it possible to join the campus in October instead of September?
That is a great question, but unfortunately, I don't have a great or favorable answer to that. As an international student, you have a deadline. It has to do with your status, and it has to do with your port of entry record. So what we're saying now, we're saying you must be in the US by September 29th, which is already a flexible, extended deadline. We're trying to accommodate given the current climate with visa delays and visa backlog on the consular services end, and it's already extended, but no longer than that. And again, first of all, it has to do with your CVS record. And I'm talking now about new students, new, not continuing, coming back after summer break. It's new students, first entry. If you don't do your first entry within 30 days from the date semester begins, your CVS record will be canceled automatically. We need to activate you in CVS, but only when you cross the border. And there is a port of entry record. And of course, it has to do with your full-time enrollment, but first indication that you're physically in the United States. So October is out of question. And then we offered options to you. We shared with you the very recent Department of State announcement. And if you want to know how recent, we learned it yesterday, that nowadays you can apply at any US consular post at any country in the world. So please take a note of it. And if it's really hard to get a visa in your home country, look up different countries. And we really want you to arrive, to cross the border. We want to activate your CVS record, and we want you to enjoy your education experience in person. But life happens again, and if you are unable to arrive by the deadline, please send us an email. It is INTL-NYC. Melba or Sabrina, can you post it to the chat? So we need to know about that. We don't want your record just simply be canceled by CVS system. We will officially defer you to the next available semester, so you will have a good CVS history instead of being canceled. Let us know. INTL-NYC@pace.edu. Melba, Sabrina from my office will post it to the chat. Oh, here you go. It's already there.
Very good.
Okay, and then we will hook you up also with your academic advisor, because your college needs to know that you do want to study, but you cannot come physically. They will accommodate to your online classes. So we do offer online classes, and then we will be in touch until we help you to come physically, to cross the border.
Great. Thank you so much. There's a question in the chat that I'm going to throw to Anma. And we have variations of this question, but if I get one dose of the vaccine in Brazil, can I get a second dose in the US? And I think it pertains to other questions of if I get a vaccine in one country, one dose, can I get a second dose in the US? So.
Sure, that's an excellent question. So yes, and we'll help you find a place where you can get vaccination here, and we'll guide you through it. And yes, you can get it.
Mira, you're very popular, so I'm going to give you another one. So I hope you have a glass of water. And this will, I think, pertain to various groups. So I think you'll probably break it down by the various groups that this may pertain to. But will I have the option to take my classes remotely?
Yeah, it's a good question. And again, it's revolving around what type of student are you? Like, who is asking? So if new student is asking this question, they cross the border, they have visa, everything is good. If you are a new student, you need to be enrolled in at least one in-person class. Could be a hybrid, HiFlex. We offer a couple of different modalities, that is fine, but you cannot study entirely online as a new student. That's a law. Unless, again, I'm going back to the previous question, you're staying in your home country and your CVS record has not been activated, not going to be activated during this fall semester. If you are here, you cross the border, we're happy to see you, but you cannot study entirely online. Now, if you are a transfer student, this is very tricky. And if we have transfer students, listen carefully. I mean, we do have transfer students. I'm not sure about this audience. You are new to PACE, but you are not new to CVIS. You are CVIS transferred. What does it mean to you? You can study online as long as you are in the US. So you are in the US, you are between schools, you are new to PACE. I'm reiterating, I just want to get this message across. But you're not new to CVIS. So we will register you in CVIS, and then you have the same flexibility as continuing students do, because you are not new CVIS-wise. Now, if you are continuing student, then you have full flexibility as it has been last semester and semester before. Same policy applies. You can study still remotely, whether in the US or outside of the US, as long as you register full-time. And lastly, I know we have those students, we have many students coming back after leave of absence. I'm not sure if they are in the audience, but still I'm going to say it. They are continuing students to PACE. They have resumed their study after leave of absence, but for CVIS, they're new students. We issued new I-20 for you, new CVIS ID number. You are under category of new students, new to CVIS, and therefore we need to cross the border, we need to activate your record. You cannot have classes online entirely. You need to have at least one class in person. I hope it's clear. It's just different type of student, and different rule applies.
I think it's good to reiterate to the guest that please email the international student scholar's office if you have particular questions. Depending on your situation, they can help answer and advise you appropriately to get you here. So please,
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Elba and Sabrina are in the chat.
Yeah.
You know, they're your points of contact. They can help guide you and get you right here on campus in the fall.
Yes, thank you, Andres. That's an excellent idea. We will deal with it on case-by-case basis. Just ask us, intlnyc@base.edu.
Thank you, Mira. So Oma, I'm going to go back to you. I think it'd be beneficial. I think maybe some guests maybe started late, or they're maybe not fully understanding or really clear. Could we go over the our policies on the vaccinations per country. A lot of questions regarding, is there an official list of the vaccinations that are approved? Some students that live in Russia, they're not sure if the Russian vaccine is applicable or approved. The Indian vaccine. Can we go over just that again for the panel? I mean, for the guests.
Sure. Thank you. That's excellent question. So we have Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson, which is manufacturer is Janssen. So those are United States vaccines. If you got one of them, that's great. Those are WHO approved. In addition to those, we also have in India, a lot of people are getting Covishield, so that's approved. So if you got Covishield, you're good to go. You've been approved. You should upload it. Once you upload it, within 7 days, you will get a confirmation email from Medicaid saying that you are approved to come in on campus. So please go ahead and upload that as soon as possible. And if you are from China, we do have Sinopharm and Sinovac that are WHO approved. So go ahead and please upload those also. And within 7 days, you should be getting an email confirming that you are approved to come in. On the other hand, the Russian vaccines, COVID-19 Russian vaccines like Sputnik has not been approved by WHO. But once you get here, if you're interested in getting a vaccine from us, you can either get Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson. We will help you find a place that will give vaccines of your choice once you get here. So we will help you definitely with getting vaccinated here in United States once you get here to New York City. But just let us know and email us, and particularly, individually, we will help you, guide you through every step of it.
And this is just confirmed because some are asking the question. It's free for them, correct?
Yes, it is 100% free. Yes. The testing is free, and also vaccination is free.
And Andre, I wanted to follow up. There are some students who are saying, okay, I'm glad that I can come to the United States and I can get this vaccine, but what if I'm coming after August 1st? That's that deadline to report my vaccine record, right? Or
Yes.
to ask for an exemption. So one of the things that I want you as students to look for is a communication that we're going to share with you about how you can actually report that, because right now you have, I am vaccinated, or I'm seeking a religious or medical exemption. There's actually a third category, and that's kind of the good faith category. The I'm coming to the United States and I intend to get a vaccine once I am there because I can't get one from my home country, or like Onma had said, I don't have a WHO, World Health Organization approved vaccine. So you do not need to currently upload an exemption because it doesn't exist right now, but we are going to have an opportunity for you to share with us, I'm coming, I will get a vaccine, and here's the reason why I can't get it right now. And so that's not an option for you to sign up right now, but eventually that will be there. There's also questions about if you submit a vaccine after August 1st, some of you have, maybe you're getting your second shot in your home country on August 10th, and then you're traveling. If you upload it after August 1st, we just can't guarantee that 7-day approval window will be 7 days. It might be longer. We're expecting a lot of people to wait until the deadline. So if you can upload it in advance, because you get your shot before August 1st, I highly recommend that, so that those who have to upload it afterwards, we just don't want you to show up to campus and then not have had it approved because there's so much to review. So again, if you upload it after the 1st, we can't guarantee that it will be processed in time for you to access campus. So we need you to be flexible.
Great point. Thank you. Mira, I have a question for you and your team. Is it mandatory to attend the orientation day on August 19th in person or virtually?
We're going to host a virtual orientation. And yes, it's mandatory. It's for your own benefit. We normally introduce you to your visa do's and don'ts, or rather benefits and restrictions. You need to know about that, and the government does mandate that introduction. So you need to know what to do and what not to do. Visa has benefits and has restrictions, but suppose you cannot make it, we always provide a makeup orientation, either for late arrivals, like pre-corona time, we have had a couple of orientations, a series of makeup orientations for late arrivals. So we will accommodate, but whoever is not going to make it need to be in contact with us. Again, intl@pace.edu, just let us know that you are not coming. And yes, it's virtual on Zoom that you cannot attend. We will provide another session.
Great. Now this question, Rachel, I'm going to throw it to you, but I think it's, and she might have to clarify. This is from Christy. I'm not an international student, so I'm not an international student, but I live in a foreign country. Can I or should I follow the guidelines for international students instead of domestic?
So the guidelines for international travelers, so even if you are a US citizen, if you are currently in another country, you do need to look up those CDC travel notices. It is, if you are, again, if you're vaccinated, you need to travel no matter what. You have to have a PCR test before you leave and you board that plane. And then if you are unvaccinated, you still have the same requirements. You still have to have the PCR test to travel. It's not a PACE requirement, it's a travel requirement. And there's additional CDC guidance that they recommend that you monitor your symptoms if you're unvaccinated after travel, that you consider getting some tests, things like that, but PACE is not requiring you to do that. But domestic students are held to the same vaccination requirements. It's all of our faculty, staff, and students. So we still want you to make sure that you upload your vaccination records by August 1st. But that the travel restrictions and things like that, that is applicable to all people traveling to or from international destinations.
And this one, once again, for Rachel, or we can have Patrick answer. What is the earliest dates residence halls open for move-in? And second, to follow up to that, are there any temporary accommodation facilities?
So currently, and I saw Patrick put this in the chat earlier, August 30th is the first move-in date. And there will be a series of tasks that you complete throughout the summer with your confirming your housing application, reviewing the residential guide to living, all room assignments went out, things like that. And starting August 1st is when you can actually sign up for your move-in time slot. Again, August 1st is when you can sign up, provided you've done all those other things before and that your vaccine record has been approved. But we are not, move-in starts August 30th, which actually is more time than usual. We usually just have a couple days, and now we're trying to strike a balance in between the 2-week period that we had last year, and now we're reducing it down to just about a week, a little bit more than a week. But Patrick, I'm not quite sure about the temporary accommodations because we're not prepared to open until August 30th, but I turn it over to you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, I mean, briefly, as Rachel said, all the students who have housing assignments should have already received an email. So please do check your email. If you're a guaranteed housing student, please check your spam or your junk mail folders if you haven't received your a confirmation of your housing assignment. The first that talks about the steps everyone needs to take, which is from this point forward, filling out the housing agreement. Then in a week, we'll do something called a pre-arrival form, which is kind of like a virtual check-in at a hotel. And then and only then, if you've done those two things, will you be able to fill out and select a move time. We'll start the first week of August, where people are selecting the time to move. Those options for move-in will be no earlier than August 30th. The 31st are truly what we consider early arrivals. We start our main process on September 1st. So if you need to make your travel plans and your coordinate when you're actually going to start spending your nights on the PACE campus, I would try to aim for the September 1st. And to that question of whether we accommodate temporary, I answered that question. I just want to be clear. There's a couple of different answers. One is if you for a place to stay, no, unfortunately, we do not offer an accommodation while you're looking for other off-campus accommodations. We only offer students who've applied for housing. At this time, we are waitlisting students. If we have students apply, we do feel strongly that ultimately we'll be able to get housing for everyone. So if you really need housing, please don't hesitate to apply. And was made earlier, if you are coming from abroad, as we know, we talked about in this presentation, quarantine is not required, but it is recommended. If you choose to engage in a quarantine, however, you can do that on our campus, because as you can imagine, quarantine requires a range of services and isolation. We're not set up to provide that for the students who select to do that. So if you're choosing a pre-arrival quarantine before you move into the residence halls that first week in September, that you're going to have to arrange off campus.
Thank you. Oma, just to clarify again for the students, can you just reiterate and just confirm that any WHO vaccine that's listed is approved?
Yes, that's right.
Rachel, if they want to take the vaccine in the US upon arrival, apart from registering for the vaccine, do they have to inform PACE representatives anyway?
Not right now, and that's still part of that communication that we want to be able to send out of instructions of, if you are intending to come to the United States, you don't have a vaccine, but you would like to get vaccinated, and you set up that appointment. So there is a New York COVID-19 vaccine finder, and you can actually use your PACE addresses to sign up for that appointment. But your question was, do I need to tell anybody that that's my intention? I'm coming to the US without a vaccine, but I do intend to get it. Yes, eventually you will, but we want to streamline that and make that as easy as possible. So that is a forthcoming update.
Great. I'm going through some of the questions. Bear with me one second. Just a lot of questions I think we went over. So I'm just making sure we don't take those. Just, I guess, a lot of questions again that people are just concerned about the August 1st deadline. So it would help just to confirm that if they don't meet by the August 1st deadline, were there any problems or issues by submitting their vaccination, their proof of vaccination by August 1st?
I'm sorry, Andre, you broke up a little bit. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions concerned about not be able to provide vaccination proof by August 1st, and what do they do? What be, if they can't, what should they do if they can't have that submitted by August 1st? What's the recourse?
I would upload it as soon as you can, and just know that you will not be able to access campus until that record has been verified. So if you want to upload your results August 10th, just know that if you show up the next day, we're not going to be ready to have reviewed your vaccine records. So if you have a more flexible arrival time, if you know that you're going to travel a week or two later, by the time you get here, it's possible that it will be approved. But again, we require 7 days for our professionals to be able to review all the vaccine records. So if you think of the thousands of vaccine records they're going to be reviewing as of August 1st, hopefully upload them earlier if you can, so that those students and faculty staff who might have a delay might not have such a long delay. But again, if you can't get it by August 1st, you can submit it a little later. It might take us a little bit more time to review them. So please just be prepared not to come to campus until that has been approved. If there is timing with you're a residential student and you need to check into the residence hall and you're just that one shot shy, or you got the shot, but it wasn't, you couldn't upload it in time for that August 1st, we will work with you. I know there's a lot of individual circumstances, and I think President Krisloff really led off with that welcome of, we are going to work with you, and we will communicate that.
Great. Mira, this student is asking about, and this may pertain to other visa issues, if they're on a different visa than an F1 and they're currently in the US. So she's currently in the US on an L2 visa. Does she need to change her status to an F1? And what is the process for that?
No, not really. There are no restrictions. Under that type of visa, L2, you can study. I mean, study part-time, full-time. No study restrictions apply. So do you have to change your visa? No, absolutely not. Unless you want to, but then it's a separate conversation. If you want to apply for change of status of visa, we will explain under different different setup, not right now, but you can send me an email or email to INTL NYC. I will explain the procedure. It's not simple. It's a complex change of status in the United States, but the bottom line, no, you do not need to change your visa. You can study with your current L2 visa, no study restrictions.
Great. Now, here's a question, not particularly to anyone on this panel because it's not in your area, but I'm just going to state it and then I'll give what they should do. So a student is asking a question about fee payments, so tuition payments, fees payments to the university, and then their coincide with their visa approval and visa appointment. So because of the limited amount of slots in India, they were able to schedule an interview later in the month of August. But however, their fee payments are due August 1st. Can they guide me in this manner? So they're really concerned about paying all their fees up front by the due date, but not having an appointment for their visa until later afterwards for fear of what if they're rejected. We have that issue and that concern every semester. So I would ask that student, if you're a grad student or undergrad student, please contact International Admissions. If you're undergrad, you can contact Rob Nadrano. He's here on the chat. If you're a graduate student, you can email him or you can email Zachary Karp, and we will work with you along with student accounts to assist you and hopefully not have you have any fees or late fees based on that situation. We'll work with you so you won't get penalized unnecessarily. So we have about 6 minutes to go. So I'm just gonna go through, see if I have any other questions that are unique to what we have. But to everyone in the webinar, all our guests, this webinar is recorded. And we will have that available to students to review afterwards. But also, please continue to check our websites, the International Student and Scholars website. They will update information constantly based on CDC, state guidelines, and PACE policies. So please continue to watch updates on those websites. You will receive updated information as well from PACE in general about any changes that are occurring or happening or change in policies or anything that affects your enrollment. Admissions, if you're admissions, new students, please look out for emails from us through your PACE portal. Continuing students, once again, you'll receive communication, check your PACE email accounts. We will continue to send information daily, weekly, so please continue to check that. So just give a couple more minutes. I think we went through a lot of the questions, and once again, some of the questions we've covered already. And once again, this is recorded, and you can go over and go back and review many of the comments and answers. I guess in 5 minutes, I'll give a chance to each of the panelists. Just give a final send off to each of the students. Anything you want to say to the guests? So I'll start with Mira. Mira, you want to say just a few things?
Well, new students, welcome to PACE, of course. And we look forward to meeting you and greeting you on campus in person. And we'll all be fully vaccinated, can shake hands, I believe. We haven't been for more than a year. So I'm personally looking forward to shake your hands and to greet you on campus. Continuing students, we've been in touch, Zooms, emails, endless emails. And I also look forward just to see you in my office in person and shake your hand. And we all look forward to come back to campus and have normal fall, and we will. We are hopeful we will. So, and then one small step towards it, vaccinations. So we will see you soon then. Have a good summer.
Great, thank you. Oma.
So congratulations, everybody. And we are really excited and we're really looking forward to seeing everyone and meeting everyone in person. And whatever help you need help with, just let us know. We are here to work with you and we want to welcome you. And congratulations again and have a great summer. And we can't wait to see you all in person.
And Rachel. All right.
Hey, welcome and welcome back is going to be in order for this fall. And I am looking forward to the programming that comes out of PACE International Office, because that is where we come together. I am incredibly excited about integrating all of the populations on our campus, and whether it's shaking hands or drinking tea or coffee or engaging in city life or Westchester County life, I'm just really excited to get people back.
I second that. I can't wait to go up to the international office and have exotic teas from around the world and foods when we have the little sessions. I miss those days. So students, be prepared for those. Mira puts on a great party, great time. She'll be your mother away from home. We welcome all of you. We thank you for being patient through this difficult, but you know, we got through it. We got through this time and we welcome you. We can't wait to see you. There are many people that you see the names on this chat that are here to help and support you. Please reach out to us. You know, there's some questions on here about particular issues about your degrees. Please contact the admissions office. If you're an undergrad or graduate student, we will assist you. We will help you. We will go through each of the chats and contact you individually. But without further ado, we want to thank you for joining us today. It's been a great day or evening or afternoon, depending on where you are. It's been a great session, a lot of information. I know it was a lot. But once again, please continue to look at your emails and notifications, communications from the university. We'll be sending those out to you regularly. So without further ado, we want to thank you for joining us. Take care. Take care. Good evening. Good night. Best to you all.
See you soon.